Alright, so you might notice by the thing in the corner here that I'm using EndeavourOS. And I really tried using OpenSUSE. It's going to be a quick video, by the way. But apparently OpenSUSE has a secondary repository that just fucking breaks shit. I think it's called the Pacman repository. Apparently, just getting any audio video to work, like I couldn't get MP4s to work at all, is just a pain in the ass. So I switched to Gecko, which has that all out of the box, but the minute I updated the fucking thing, it broke. And like I've said before, if I can't fucking use something, I'm not gonna fucking bother. I'm just not even gonna wait for it to be fixed. I'm just not gonna fucking use it. Um, and by the way, with OpenSUSE, like I went on their page and where it said how to install everything, and I did everything right, it still didn't fucking work. So clearly there's a problem there. It's not like Ubuntu, PPA, or fucking Flatpaks, or the AUR, where it's a repository on top of the main repository that works with it. Pacman seems to be conflicting with OpenSUSE's repository and causing fucking issues that cause everything to break. Not good. Now, as you can see here, this is a GTK app. It is themed properly. KDE really has, in the past 3 versions, become a really good desktop environment. I actually just found out you can go to sidebar view or icon view. I prefer icon view. So as you can see here, if you're using Arch, by the way, at least have 32 gigs of RAM, because if you've ever just had 8 gigs of RAM and tried to install something from the AUR like LibreWolf, it will not install. It will fail miserably, repeatedly, because you do not have enough RAM. I'm using LibreWolf, by the way, instead of Firefox, because Mozilla has kind of taken a turn for the fucking worse. And I don't care for that. They've made a lot of shit decisions, and I'm not using it anymore. I prefer to use a fork. Unlike WaterFox, and WaterFox is actually really good, LibreWolf is based off the latest version of Firefox, so it's not like you're missing out on any security updates or anything. Works very well. But yeah, KDE is really coming into its own in a really good way. One thing I like that they started doing on top of their traditional thing where they look kind of like Windows, especially with this, is if you go to colors, they seem to have borrowed this from Mac. So that's cool. That's been, I think, a couple versions now. So you have different colors that you can do. You get the idea. So we're just going to go to the color scheme here. And I went with purple because even though purple is not really my favorite color, my favorite color is black, in case no one knew. I think it looks pretty good with the purple, especially seeing as how it goes with the OS logo. Not sure about this wallpaper, it's just a wolf howl. Something I found online though. UB ports, I had to download the app image, I think it is. Yeah, it's an app image. And I had to move the app image into a folder with the logo that I downloaded off the web. And then right-click, edit applications, and put the application in manually. Rockbox actually is included in the AUR, as is Balena Etcher, so nothing really needs to be installed from the web there, or added. And that's kind of one of the things I really like about Arch, is it really does have a great package repository. Anything I could ever want is in there. It's similar to Debian. Debian has a great package repository. Unfortunately, Debian is too far behind for my taste. There's newer features you could be missing out on. It's not really for everyone. And unfortunately, if you're using newer hardware, you could also run into issues, and that was definitely my issue. It's just too outdated. I really want to try to keep this short, but really there's not much to tell. I mean, the last time I used Arch, I had an issue where I'd installed the thing to the ISO, to the flash drive, and when I went to boot it up, F12, you don't go through the boot process, the file system didn't exist on the flash drive. And it turns out, I found out why that was. It turns out there's an issue with, because I started having an issue with MX Linux too, because I tried to use MX Linux. Didn't have an issue with OpenSUSE, strangely enough, or Endeavor. The issue turns out to be with UEFI, the newer BIOS that comes in laptops. Excuse me. So, for those who don't know, the reason why this newer BIOS even exists is because Microsoft sucks ass, and there's a bunch of security problems, and so now that they've released a new BIOS to fix those security problems, you run into issues with Linux, not booting sometimes. It's been my experience, at least, because I have an old laptop with a legacy BIOS that never has an issue booting a flash drive. It's only the new fucking BIOS that has an issue, so found that out. Also, the last time, I had an issue where LightDM kept failing to load after it boot up, so I'd have to forcefully shut down the computer by pressing the power button, and then probably turn it on 12 to 15 times before LightDM would load properly, so I could insert my password and log in. That's not good, and it really made me hate Arch. The other thing I realized, and this was the last time I used Arch, the version of Cinnamon I was using, I think I was on Manjaro at the time, but the version of Cinnamon I was using was still in beta and not even released yet, so that might have been an issue. I haven't seen anything like that in this time, so originally I had thought, oh, Arch is using packages that are still in beta. That might not be the case. It just might be certain flavors of Arch, like Manjaro, that are doing that. I honestly don't know what the fuck the issue is, but I know for sure that the last time I used Arch, the version of Cinnamon I was using hadn't even been released yet. And that is a major fucking issue. You can't be using beta packages on a fucking stable release, or a rolling release, or anything that's meant to be used as a daily driver, and not tell people that it's fucking beta. Because I can figure it out, just, by looking at, hey, what version am I using? Go to the package repository of Linux Mint, figure out what they're doing. Not everyone's going to be able to do that. Unfortunately, some people aren't intermediate users or advanced users. I'm intermediate. Some people, like my cousin, who I installed Linux Mint on her system because she was having problems with Windows, and she works from home. She just knows how to turn the computer on, log in, update the thing, and use the thing. She wouldn't know how to install an operating system. She wouldn't know how to fix an operating system. And she sure as shit wouldn't know how to diagnose a problem if something's not working. And that's kind of why I stopped using Arch. That and the fact that I'm still having issues with the fucking Pacman, what the fuck's package manager. It's not simple. It really isn't. It is more convoluted than it needs to be, in my opinion. And I think I've said this before, but I started out with Debian. And with Debian, it's, if you want to install a package, it's sudo apt install. It used to be sudo apt-get install. Now it's sudo apt install. So anyways, Debian sudo apt install. OpenSUSE, you want to install a package? Sudo zipper install. Red Hat, Fedora, you want to install a package? Sudo dnf install. Anything based off fucking Gentoo is... I can't remember the fucking thing off the top of my head, but it's sudo and then the package thing and install. It's always sudo whatever install. With fucking Arch, it's sudo pacman-s. That is... I don't want to say it's fucking stupid, but the problem is it's not easy to transition to. Because what it does is it makes you learn an entire new way of doing things, whereas everything else, it's more easy to transition between them. And I don't like when things make you learn an entirely new way of doing things. Especially on Linux. I feel like one of the things that makes Linux great is the fact that you can go from one distro to the next and you don't really have to learn too much of how to use it. It's not like going from Windows to Mac. Although, if I'm being honest, and I'm going to wrap this up right about after this point, and I've said this before, Windows has become so fucking convoluted since Vista. There's a reason why I switched to Debian when Vista came out. And I've used Mac occasionally, and one of the things I like about Mac is it is stupidly simple. It is very easy to find shit, and I appreciate that. And I also appreciate the fact that I can use a much older version of Mac if I want to, unlike Windows, because even macOS 10 or 10.5 or whatever the fuck is still supported. Not the case with Windows. So, going forward, I'm going to be sticking with Endeavour OS. It's a great distro. Going forward, I'm going to be sticking with the KDE desktop because it actually works the way I need it to now. I do have to message KDE about the fucking cursor issue and try to fix that. Other than the cursor issue, I haven't really had any problems with KDE so far. It works just fine. There have been a couple issues. So, with LibreOffice, I had to manually put on dark mode. And with Nuclear, and this is a problem with Nuclear, not KDE, but Nuclear like KDE, not KDE, Nuclear like Vivaldi has its own custom window manager. So you have to go to Settings, you have to scroll down to Display, and you have to make sure your display looks like this, where these three things are turned off. So that way your distro's window manager is what you're actually using here. Fun fact, GNOME used to be able to have a terminal command that let you put your, let you move your X buttons and shit to whatever the fuck you wanted. They got rid of that. They got rid of a lot of shit. And it sucks. GNOME just seems to be removing more and more functionality. I know I said I was going to wrap this up. I promise I will. The other thing is, Open as root wasn't here. I had to install it. And it seems to... If I put in my password... It seems to open an entirely different version of Dolphin. I know you're not supposed to do this, but I prefer to. I could have sworn there was an official package from KDE to do this. I'm going to have to look into that more. But yeah, KDE is fucking great. I'm really enjoying it. It's very simple to use. It's not as everything including the kitchen sink thrown at it as it was before. That was the issue I had. It's really become a really great desktop environment. And, hey, Arch is stable. it's working, and EndeavourOS is actually a pretty great distro. And so I'm going to stick with that. And I will see you guys in the next video. If you're intermediate like me and you're looking for a new distro, I highly recommend Endeavour. And if you're looking for a new desktop environment, maybe try KDE. And I'll see you guys in the next fucking video.